How you doing today, guys? Welcome back to another day of 7th grade math. This is Mr. Gomez, your favorite teacher in the whole world. And today, we're going to keep on talking about two-step equations. On the previous video, I did the already highlighted ones, 2, 3, 5, 8, 9, 12, and 17, and 8, and 19. Today, I'm going to work on the rest of them up to 20. I'm going to do all of them up to 20. I'm not going to do 21, 22, 23, 24, unless the video is not too long, because I don't want to make it extra long. Now, before we start, please go ahead and consider subscribing if you haven't done so. If you would like to support the channel, there's a link down in the description. Make sure you subscribe, turn the notification bell on so you don't miss any future content. And let's go ahead and get started. Again, in order to solve for an equation, we have to isolate the variable. The variable is going to be the letter on the equation. Remember, we have friends and we have family. Friends are farther away from the variable, and the family is with the variable. So first, we got to get rid of the friends, and then we're going to get rid of the family. So, like I was saying, friends and family. We got to get rid of friends before we get rid of family. And on one variable, two-step equations, just listen to this carefully. There's going to be two steps. The first step is always going to be either add or subtract, depending on what's happening. The first step is going to be add or subtract, depending on what's happening. Once you're done with that step, the next step is going to be multiply or divide, depending on what's happening. So unless you have a group, if you have a standard equation like ax plus b equals c, the first step is going to be add or subtract, and then it's going to be multiply or divide. If you need to ungroup something, first you do the ungrouping, and then you add or subtract, multiply or divide. So again, the first step always is going to be add or subtract, depending on what's happening. Once you're done with the adding and subtracting, you can move on to the second step, which is going to be either multiply or divide, in that order. Simple as that. Okay, let me say it one more time. The first step, you're going to add or subtract. That's going to be the first step. And the second step is going to be multiply or divide. Let's go ahead and get started. So number one, we have 6 equals a over 4 plus 2. A over 4 plus 2. We got to get rid of the family. The friends before the family. And like I said, the first step is to add or subtract, then multiply or divide. So we got to look at what happened, and we're going to We're going to do the first step by doing the opposite of what's happening. We're going to do the step by doing the opposite of what's happening. So since we're adding 2, we're going to subtract 2. Okay, the first step is going to be to subtract 2. And what I do to one side, I have to do it on the other side. Okay, I'm going to make the equal line. You can make a line over here to separate the equal sign and all that. And this one right here crosses out. You got to pay attention to the signs. We're going to have to use the sign rules for adding and subtracting, and the sign rules for multiplying and dividing, which are totally different. Over here, we just have a regular subtraction. 6 minus 2 is 4. And we're left with a over 4. My first step is done. I subtracted. So my second step is going to be to multiply or divide, depending what's happening. In this case, the number that I have to get rid of is right here, the 4. And if I can look at this, I know that this sign right here means to divide. So the opposite is multiply. So we're going to multiply this whole thing by what number you think? By that 4 that is in there, because that's the number that we have to get rid of. And what I do to one side, you must do to the other side. So this 4 will cancel out. That will be just 1. 1a. You're going to be left with a. And on the other side, we have what? How much? 4 times 4 is 16. And that's your answer. Is that simple. Now, on my Google form, all you gotta do is put in the number 16, and that's gonna be the answer. You don't have to put x equal. You can't turn it in on the form anymore because it's already late. Now, any questions about number 1? If you have any questions on number 1, leave them down in the comments below, and I'll be happy to help you. If you have a different way to do it, make sure you leave me down in the comments below as well. I usually like to work them on a fast way for the purposes, but for the purposes of my class, we gotta do it the long way. Number 4 is the next one. Number 4, we have 0 equals 4 plus n over 5, or n divided by 5. Every time you have a fraction, that means it's a division. So the first step that we have to do right here is what? We're going to add or subtract, right? So let's look at what's farther away from n. What's the friend over here? The friend is going to be that 4. And then if you ask me, but mister, I don't know what the 4 is doing. Look in front of the 4 over here. Is there a sign in there? No. So is it positive or negative? Positive. It's positive. So basically, it's like saying that there's a plus 4 in there. And the opposite of plus 4 is minus 4. And when you do to one side, you have to do to the other side. Right? So whenever you have a number and it doesn't have a sign in front of it, not after, because this belongs to that section right there. Okay? You got to pay attention to that. It's what's in front of it. If there's nothing in front of that, it's just a positive. Now, this is going to cancel out. 4 minus 4 is just 0. You're left with n over 5 on this side. And then 0 minus 4. How much is that? Let's think about water. The surface of the water is 0. Minus 4. Are you going to go down or up? Are you going to float? If you're going to go down, is it going to be what? Negative or positive? Negative. So the answer for this is negative 4 right there. My first step is done. I subtracted because I was adding. So my second step is going to be to multiply or divide, right? We're going to have to multiply in this case because it's divided by 5. What do you think we're going to multiply by? By 5, because that's the number we have to get rid of. This is the number that we got to get rid of. That's the number we're multiplying by. That's just going to go away. And over here, we're just going to multiply. 5 times 4 is 20. Now, we got to pay attention to the sign rules, right? So I have a positive and a negative. So is it going to be happy or sad? Sad. So my answer is going to be negative. My answer is going to be negative 20. Is it getting easier? Am I going too fast?
Yes. No.
Not necessarily, because I'm explaining almost everything, right? If you still have questions about number 4, please leave them down in the comments below. If you haven't, I'm going to pause, subscribe, notifications bell on, and let's move on to the next one. I have already done number 5, so let's work on number 6. This is the one that I told you, unless you have a group, you add or subtract, then multiply and divide. But if you have a group, you got to take care of that group first. Okay? So over here, we kind of have a group over here. It's like having parentheses in there. But it's not parentheses. The group is going to be separated by the division line. Okay? So in this case, this is going to be the friend. And this is the, I guess, family. Okay? Because 6 is farther away from x in this case. Now, if we look at the 6, what is the 6 doing? What operation is happening over here? What's this right here? It's dividing. So how do we undo a division? We multiply, right? So what do we have to multiply by in this case? What is the number we got to get rid of? 6. So we got to multiply by what?
6.
By 6. What I do to one side, you better do it to the other side. This will be eliminated. And then on the left side, you're going to have 6 times 1 is
6.
And then you have a positive and a negative, which is
Positive. Negative.
sad, right? Negative. Now you're left with 5 plus x. So how do we undo that 5? What is it doing? What is the 5 doing? It's adding, right? So the opposite is subtract
1.
on both sides. That cancels out. So you have x on the left, on the right, and on the left we have the same signs. Do we add or subtract? Same signs. Add. Do we keep it positive or negative?
Positive.
Positive. Negative.
Negative. It's just getting more negative, right? It's like if you have a number line, you start at -6, and then you do -5. Are you moving to the left or to the right?
To the
Left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's just getting more negative, right? So my answer is going to be -11. Now notice, in this case, we first subtracted and then multiplied. We went backwards. And that is because we had a division happening before we can actually move to this group right here. If you have something like that, you have to get rid of what's on the bottom first. All right, you just got to remember that. All right, let's see what else we have. Number 7, we have something very similar. Almost identical except different numbers, right? So I guess we can go a little bit faster on this one. What is the first thing that we have to get rid of? The 3. What is the 3 doing? Dividing, and the opposite is?
multiply.
So we're going to multiply this thing by 3, and what I do to one side, you have to do to the other side. Very good. This cancels out. You're left with v plus 9 equals to 24. So far, so good?
Yes.
All right. Now, we have v plus 9. What is the next step?
Subtract.
Subtract how much? 9, right? What I do to one side?
Yes,
Very good. So v equals, what's 24 minus 9? This is a regular subtraction, right? 24 minus 9.
24 minus 9?
Yeah.
Oh.
15, right?
15, yeah.
That's my final answer. Remember, you can always check your answer back into the equation. Let me show you, just in case. How to check if you got this right. Instead of v, we're going to use 15. Okay? So I'm going to do 15 plus 9 divided by 3 should give me 8. What is 15 plus 9?
24.
24 divided by 3 should give me 8. What is 23 divided by 4? 24 divided by 3. 8. Is 8 equal to 8?
Yes. Yes.
Then my answer is correct. This is my answer, by the way. That's how you check if you got the answer right. You substitute the value back where the variable is at, and that's it. Let's get a little more complicated. What's next? We already did number 8 and 9 on the previous video. Make sure you check that one out. Let's do number 10. Number 10 is fun because we have negatives. Don't forget about those negatives. All right. So we have -6 equals to n over 2 minus 10. Now, just in case, you can rewrite this to have the equal sign on the right. Just take this and move it over. And it's the same thing. If you like to work them like that too. It's the same thing. And I'm just going to work it like that to show you. So I have n divided by 2 minus 10 equals to -6. First step, add or subtract. What are we doing?
Subtracting.
It's subtracting, so the opposite is add. We're going to add 10 on both sides, right? That cancels out. Now we have -6 plus 10. This is the adding and subtracting rule. We have opposite signs, so we have to
Subtract.
subtract and
Add.
keep
mean, if he dominated the same
Keep the sign of the
Number.
number.
bigger
Up.
number.
Positive.
Okay. So, what is 10 minus 6?
4.
4. Which one's bigger, the negative or the positive?
Negative. Positive.
The positive, so it's positive 4. And on this side, I'm left with n over 2. Are we good so far?
Yes.
All right. So, what is my last step?
You subtract.
You're multiplying.
We're going to multiply, right? Because it's dividing. So, we're going to multiply by 2 on both sides. Okay? We're just doing the opposite. The opposite of whatever it's doing. Just remember that you just have to do the opposite and you're going to be good. That cancels out. You're going to be left with n equals to 8. That's it. Easy peasy. We good? Any questions, anybody so far?
No.
All right. If you're watching this and you have questions, leave them down in the comments below and I'll be happy to answer them. And also subscribe. Let's see. Number 11. You want to leave it like that or you want to flip it?
Flip it.
Y'all want to flip it?
No.
Leave it? All right. Don't. Okay, let's just leave it like that. Let me. What happened there? Let's change the color. So we're going to leave it like that. Make a line if you want to. What is my first step?
You subtract.
We're going to subtract what?
You're gonna subtract the parentheses
2 from the left or from the right?
from the left. I mean from the right.
From the right, right? Because my variable is right here. We're working with that side. So we're going to subtract 2 because this is basically a positive 2, a plus 2. And what I do to one side, do to the other. Very good. We're getting this. This will cancel out. Now we have negative 2 minus 2. You're at negative 2, and then you're going to subtract 2. Are you going to move to the left or to the right? To the left. So is it going to be more negative? Yes. So basically you're just going to add them, right? What's 2 plus 2? 4, but it has to stay negative. Very good. Very good. Now, you're left with v divided by 4. What's the opposite of divide? We're going to multiply by 4. What I do to one side.
Into the other.
Very good. This cancels out. You're left with v equals 4 times 4 is 16. You have a negative and a positive. It's going to be negative. Very good. Any questions so far?
No.
Let's see. We're moving faster because we're getting this, right? Very good. Number 13. You want to flip it or leave it like that? Leave it. All right. So what's the first thing that we have to get rid of? Hold on. Let me do this again. What is the first thing that we have to get rid of? The 5. What is the 5 doing?
It's
Adding. And the opposite is?
subtracting.
We're going to subtract 5 from both sides. That cancels out. Same signs, you add them or subtract them? Add them, but you're going to keep the sign, remember? Yes? So it's going to be 15 plus 5 is 20. Positive or negative? Negative. Very good. And then we're left with negative 4m. My last step is going to be what? Divide, because we're multiplying. Remember, a number and a letter together, they're always multiplying. So the opposite is going to be to divide by that negative 4 and divide by that negative 4. This is going to cancel out. Basically, 4 divided by 4 is just 1m. But whenever it's only 1m, is this also 1m?
No.
Yes. How many m's are there? No, right here on this side. 1. How many m's are here? 1 is the same thing, right? We just don't write that 1. So that's what it doesn't really cancel out. It's just 4 divided by 4 is 1. 1m. So m right there. And then we have 20 divided by 4, which is, how many times does 4 go into 20? 5. And you have two negatives, so it's going to be
Negative. Positive.
positive. Very good. Back there. Very good. Same signs. Opposite. I mean, positive. So m equals to 5. Next one. Number 14. You want to leave it like that? Yeah. Or you want to rewrite it? Leave it like that. All right. Number 14. We make the line. Do you like making that line?
Yeah, it helps you a little bit more.
Okay. So, what is the first thing that we have to get rid of? Remember, we're going to add or subtract first.
104.
We're looking at the left because the variable is on the 10. What is the 10 doing right here?
So you're gonna add.
Look at, is there a sign over here?
No.
So is it plus or minus?
Minus.
Plus.
So this is plus 10, right? So the opposite of plus 10 is
Minus.
minus 10. And you're left with negative 6v equals, what's 104 negative minus 10?
Can you repeat it again?
Negative 104 minus 10. Am I adding or subtracting? Adding, right?
Yeah.
So it's going to be 114. But is it going to be positive or negative?
Negative.
Negative. Very good. It just gets more negative. Remember, adding and subtracting sign rules are different than multiplying and dividing sign rules. Last step. What is my last step?
You subtract. I mean, add, divide, multiply.
What's happening right here? Yeah, we're multiplying. So the opposite is we're going to divide by what? By what number? By what number?
6.
Negative 6.
Negative 6. Very good. So your answer, is it going to be positive or negative?
Positive. I mean, negative. I think. Positive? Positive?
Negative and negative is a happy or sad? Happy. It's going to be positive, right? Now, how many times does 6 go into 114? This goes one time. This is 6, 4, right? Wait. So this is going to be what? 11 minus 6 is
20. It goes into 20.
5. Goes 4, right? How many times does 6 go into 54? 9. So my answer is going to be V equals to 19.
Oh, yeah.
And we said it's positive, right? Any questions so far? All right, make sure you're awake. I'm going to have another camera looking at y'all. All right, let's see. Number 15. That's an easy one. I shouldn't even do it because it's so easy.
I can't really see these over there.
It's super simple. Y'all tell me, what's my first step?
You saw, you get out. I can't see people. It's like there.
What's my first step?
31, you get out 31.
8. You do the 8.
What about the 7?
Go back to 8.
What are we doing with the 7? What's my first step?
Wait, is it 8?
Isn't it that you said that you
It's adding, yeah. So we're gonna what? Subtract what? 7. Very good. What you do to one side, you have to do to the other side. This cancels out. This does cancel out because you're in the dividing. So you're left with 8n equals to 31 minus 7 is 24. Now what's the second step? Somewhere on this side. Somebody else. What's my second step? Over there in the back. Divide by what? By 8. Very good, because it's multiplying, right? So my answer is going to be what? N equals to how much?
N equals
19.
20.
You see, you're saying that.
How many times does 8 go into 24? How? Try again.
19,
3 times. Very good. 3 times 8 is 24, right? You gotta wake up. I know it's early. It's Monday, but still. Got a few more. That was super simple. Another easy one.
We should do the easy ones instead.
Except of their negatives. But that's okay. What is my first step?
So you're gonna go to.
Remember, the first step, this is a regular equation. We're going to add or subtract and then multiply or divide. What is the first step in this one? What's happening with the friend? What is the friend doing? Adding or subtracting?
Subtract.
It's subtracting. So what do you have to do?
adding.
You got to add. You got to add 13. Add 13.
And you have to do it to the.
So, yes, ma'am. Very good. So we're left with negative 9x equals 2. We have opposite signs. So what's going to happen over here? It's going to be negative y. Is that subtraction or addition?
It's addition.
Opposite signs. You add or subtract.
You subtract them.
Subtract. So 113 minus, 103 minus 13. How much is that?
You're gonna add it, so
90, right? Now, is it going to be positive or negative?
negative.
Negative.
Why?
No, positive.
Why?
Because you're doing the opposite.
But remember, it's adding and subtracting different rules.
Because they're not happy together.
You're subtracting.
I subtracted, yes. I subtracted, but what's going to stay? Positive or negative?
Negative.
Negative, why?
Because they're not the same signs.
No, what? Which one's bigger?
The negative.
The 103 is bigger, so it has to stay negative, right? Very good. Don't mix that up. Very important. Now, if you want to use a number rule, use it if you're going to make a mistake. If you think you're going to make a mistake, go ahead and use a number rule. A number line. So, for example, if you start at 103 negative, negative 103, and then the other one is positive, then you have to move to the right. You're going to move in how many times? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And you're going to end up over here. Your 0 is still somewhere over there. So you know the answer is still going to be negative. Okay? Now, my last step right here. Negative 9x. I already added, so my next step is to multiply or divide, right? What am I going to do? Am I going to multiply or am I going to divide? I'm dividing. Why am I dividing? And what are they doing? They're multiplying. Very good. So I got to divide by what? By what? Again?
Positive 9. Negative 9.
Negative 9. Don't forget to bring the sign along. Right? Now, what's 90 divided by 9?
10.
10. And I have 2 negatives, so is it happy or sad?
Sad. Happy if he's the same sign.
Happy, so it's going to be positive, right? There you go. Don't get thrown off because of the signs. We have a few more to go. Let's see what we got. We already did 17. We got to do 18. Another one with negatives. Let's see if we get it right the first time, this time. And if you wake up, it'll be better for you to pay attention and... What's his name again? All right. Number 10. First step, add or subtract. What are we going to do?
Subtract. Add?
No, you add.
Add. We're going to add what? The 10. Very good. Right? It's farther away. So whatever you do to one side...
You do the other.
Okay, very good. This cancels out. 10 minus 10 is 0. But look at what's going to happen. What's 10 minus 10?
Minus 0.
We're going to divide by what?
By
By
2.
7.
By 4. divide.
So we gotta divide by 7. What you do to one side, you do to the other one. So m equals to 0. We had another one like this on the previous video, and I had explained that whenever you divide 0 divided by a number, the answer is 0. But if you have it flipped, if you divide 7 or a number divided by 0, the answer is going to be no solution. Or error, or infinite. You just put in no solution for now. In this case, we had 0 divided by a number, so it's just 0. Again, but if you have it flipped, then for now, it's going to be no solution. Any questions so far? That was pretty easy, right?
Kind of.
All right, next one. I think it's going to be the last one. Yep, number 20. First step, add or subtract.
Subtract, add, multiply, divide.
We're going to add what?
What?
1. What you do to one side, you do to the other one. This cancels out. Negative and a positive, we have to subtract and keep the sign of the bigger number, right? 2 minus 1 is just 1, but it's going to be negative. Equals m over 9. The last step, second step. M divided by 9. The opposite is multiply. Let's go ahead and multiply by 9 on both sides. That cancels out. M equals to what? Negative 9. Well, I really hope that you learned something today. If you did, please give it a thumbs up button. If you haven't subscribed, do so. And turn the notification bell on so you don't miss any future content. Other than that, that is going to be it for this one. If you have any questions or different methods, please leave them down in the comments below. And if you want to support the channel, there's a link in the description. Other than that, that's it for this one. And I'll see you on the next one. Goodbye.